And now, your hosts. Sean Hastings, an independent filmmaker and screenwriter extraordinaire. Jonathan Sulzbach, a writer, graphic designer, and voice actor. Together, these fine fellows form Cinema Filibuster.
Hello, I am Jonathan Sulzbach.
And I'm Sean Hastings.
And we are...
The Cinema Filibuster.
That's right, this is our very first episode.
Unless you count that audition thing that didn't go too well, but you know what? We won't.
We will speak of this no more.
Speak of it no more. Alright, on this first episode of the Cinema Filibuster, we're going to do a film that is rather near and dear to my heart. The Lost Skeleton of Cadavra. Ooh. It came out in 2001. It was written, directed, and starred Larry Blamire, who also did the movie with Faye Masterson, who played his wife. Andrew Parks was in the film. Brian Howe. Jennifer Blair, who played Animala, who was the... Anyway, well, you'll get all that later. The Lost Skeleton of Cadavra is a parody, if you will, or an homage, as I prefer to call it, of the old B-50s and early 60s science fiction films. It takes all of the various cliches and tropes of the bad acting and the horrible special effects and the very difficult to follow dialogue and pays a loving tribute to it.
How did you first hear about this amazing film?
This amazing film? Well, my friend Andrew, who was an acting buddy of mine back in Abilene, said, hey, I just checked out this really cool film and I think you would really, really like it. And I went over to his house and I fell in love, basically.
So you saw it on DVD?
Yeah, I saw it on DVD. It never had a theatrical release. In fact, the only time I know of that it was shown theatrically was the Egyptian Theater.
I didn't see the movie until recently. Sean introduced me to it formally. But I saw a trailer for it accompanying some other movie. I thought, oh, it looks like a fun send-up of B-movies. Someday I'd like to see it. I didn't really know how I would have a chance to see it.
The DVD release of this is available on Amazon, and it's reasonably priced. There is a sequel to it already.
There's more of this goodness?
Oh, there is a lot more of this goodness. The sequel is called The Lost Skeleton Returns Again. It's excellent. In fact, it's even better than the first one. Currently, I believe Mr. Blamire is doing a Kickstarter program for the third sequel, which is called The Lost Skeleton Walks Among Us. You know, each one gets a little bit more expensive. I think the sequel cost more than this one did, and of course, you know, if you want to do a third one, you want to.
Right.
This is the one that should be in 3D. But back to
right, The Lost Skeleton of Cadavra.
Lost Skeleton of Cadavra. One of the things I recommend most about it is watch the commentary track. They have a technical commentary track where Mr. Blamire and the technical talk about how you make a film look like an old movie. But the cast commentary is hilarious. Larry Blamire is a really, really funny guy, and everybody on he is, and everybody
you might not know it from watching his character.
No,
Dr. Paul Armstrong.
Dr. Paul Armstrong,
a scientist who does science.
I'm afraid we're terribly lost. I'm afraid is one of my favorites. One of the things Mr. Blamire said, you know, when an actor would come up to him and, you know, ask for direction on the acting, he would tell them, okay, take it to just right at a point where you think it's over the top, and then go ahead.
Should we give a quick summary of the plot?
That's a good idea. A quick summary of the plot is...
this far into it, it's about a lost skeleton.
A lost skeleton that is being looked for by a Dr. Roger Fleming.
A terrible, powerful skeleton.
Who needs an element called atmospherium.
In order to live again.
Exactly. And Dr. Paul Armstrong is a meteorographer, not a meteorologist. A meteorologist studies weather, but a meteorographer studies meteors. Weirdly enough, atmospherium is what powers alien spacecraft. So the two landed aliens, played by Andrew Parks and Susan McConnell, who plays his wife Lattice, from Marva, the planet Marva. Which is the planet.
Which is named Marva.
Marva, where they are from.
Which is not redundant
Which
at
is
all.
not redundant at all.
As you echo me.
Right. Well, Marva. Anyway, yeah, they're all linked together by their need for atmospherium.
That most mysterious and rare element.
Rare element, yes.
Which happens to fall in a forest where there's a cabin.
Yes.
The scientist and
the scientist
drive up to stay there and study it, and adventure ensues. So it's a very self-contained shoot, if you
think about it. It really is. The production crew was minimal at most. They all camped out for up at Big Bear to shoot at these cabins, and everybody cooked. I think Susan McConnell, according to the commentary, made a really mean Irish stew, which fits because she's Irish. I don't know if that's racist or not, but I'm gonna
So speak to the performances now that we kind of know who's in the film.
Andrew Parks' performance as Crowbar he had a really interesting way of looking at and going about his performance. He decided he was going to play the actor who played Crowbar in this film. The actor who plays Crowbar, this interim character, this is the best role he had ever had. And he was classically trained, over-the-top Shakespearean actor, and he was going to just give it, that's why, fine, he's giving the gestures and and he's just, but it was marvelous, because he did exactly that.
I thought Faye Masterson as Betty did a marvelous job, not just because I thought she was beautiful, which I
well,
did and do.
Sure.
But because she seemed so innocent and so devoted to her husband, nothing really seemed to dampen her day.
No.
Right.
That little coda she put at the end of every laugh was just inspired.
Later in the film, Animala does this sort of animalistic dance.
Yeah.
Would that have been terribly out of place?
Oh no, that would have been, they would have sold that as, the come see the hideous sexuality of the beast kind of a thing. That was definitely, back in the 50s, that would have been acceptable, but
Still.
Oh no, did you say? And of course every male above the age of 15 is kicking down the door to see that film. Oh, for Animala. But okay, let's just get down to task brass. Give us an opinion and be totally truthful, because Larry Blameyer's not going to watch this.
He's not? Okay. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. I did hope for something a little bit more. You have an opportunity not just to parody a 50s movie, but to subversively tell an interesting story at the same time. I was thinking, I know, Betty's gonna grab a knife from the kitchen, she's gonna go out there, she's gonna get scraped from hunting through the brush, but she's gonna find her husband, she's gonna bring him back, do whatever, slay the monster. Wow. I don't know, these are thoughts running in my head. Maybe they have nothing to do with the movie.
Yeah, I could see her coming up just drenched, Apocalypse Now, drenched in blood.
I thought maybe she would become a little bit more self-aware. So I was hoping for a little bit more, but everything that I found in the movie was satisfactory. I can't fault it for...
Satisfactory. It's alright. I like the fact that there was nothing more to it, because that meant that it was absolutely, truly a parody of a 50s film. But and that is to say, I don't discount your idea. I kind of like the idea of slathering these cliches over a deep and meaningful story.
What would Betty do if her husband Paul wasn't there? Well, she went out and searched for him. So even that was just a little bit of like, wow, she's got some...
That woman's uppity.
Yeah, you better talk to your wife about that, Paul. She thinks she can go out there on her own into the wild.
Yeah, looking for stuff, yeah, into the wild. Into the wild.
If we were to rate it or to evaluate it on some nebulous, impossible scale that means nothing to anybody but us, how would you do that?
I would rate it 2 thumbs up.
2 of your own thumbs?
2 of my own thumbs, because Roger and Gene are both dead now, so...
I would just say it's terrific. And, if I may quote...
Quote,
Supreme shock sensation of our time. This was the day the earth was disemboweled in terror.
Which I agree, I was totally disemboweled when I saw it the first time.
I needed to use the restroom by the time it was over.
Oh.
Are there any quotes or any scenes that you just want to stamp on the end of it and say, that was a great moment?
I'm afraid we're terribly lost, I'm afraid. I cannot not watch. But I guess the one that really just hits me in the face that I always think of is I Sleep Now.
If you've seen this movie, post something in the comments about what you thought about it.
Exactly. Tell us what you thought. And we'll be more than happy to listen to somebody tell us we're off our rockers.
And we might read your quote or your response briefly in a follow-up video.
All right, well, that about wraps it up for the very first inaugural, if you will, Cinema Filibuster. And there's more to come. We're not going to commit ourselves to a schedule just yet, because we're still having a few technical teething problems, so the next one will be coming up soon!
But not too soon!
Not too soon!
Just right. Subscribe.
Don't
give up.
Don't give up.
Unless you hated us.
Here,
how about this? If you
how about this?
If you liked more than 50% of this, leave a comment down below. If not, we don't want to hear it.
We don't want to see you. We don't want to smell you. Now leave.
Fragile egos can't handle it.
They can't. Well, I guess until next time, I'm Sean Hastings.
And I'm Jonathan Sulzbach.
And this has been
the Cinema Filibuster.
Cheers!
Adios.